She always sat in the back row of the classroom believing no one noticed her, but she noticed everything. Leila had been watching Adam from afar since the first day of high school. He wasn't classically handsome, but there was something unforgettable in his eyes, a presence that filled the space. His smile lit up the room, and he treated everyone with a rare kind of kindness. She hardly ever spoke to him, just twice in 3 years, and both times the words felt like they were being pulled out of her chest. One day, as she was rushing out of class, her small notebook fell. It had a worn leather cover and looked precious. Adam picked it up before she realized it had dropped and handed it to her with a smile. He said, "Your notebook fell. Looks like it means something to you." She took it, flustered, and could only say, "Thanks." He smiled again and walked away, but she stood there for several minutes, not even sure if she was still breathing. That notebook held everything. Pages written to him, never sent. Confessions, fantasies, tiny notes about every time he spoke to her or looked her way. That night she wrote in it, "He doesn't know, and he shouldn't. Silent love is purer, because silence asks for nothing in return." The years passed. High school ended. On the last day, students wrote farewell notes on each other's shirts. Leila wanted Adam to write on hers. She longed for it. But she didn't dare ask. She sat alone in a corner of the courtyard, watching him laugh with his friends, signing shirts, taking pictures. Then suddenly, he approached her. "Why are you sitting here alone? Aren't you going to let us sign your shirt?" She hesitated, then handed him the shirt shyly. He wrote, "Wishing you a life full of success and happiness. Adam." That single sentence stayed carved in her heart for years, long after the ink had faded from the fabric. After graduation, Leila went off to university in a distant city to study English literature. Adam enrolled in an engineering program in the capital. They lost touch, but social media allowed her to keep watching from afar. She saw his photos, his laughter, his trips, his jokes. She memorized his voice from short videos and played them before she slept. One night she saw a photo of him with a girl. She was tall, had long hair, and a wide, radiant smile. Adam was holding her hand, and the caption read, "Everything feels easier with you." It felt like someone had ripped her heart out and thrown it off a cliff. She closed her phone and cried, for the first time, because of a man who never asked her for anything, and from whom she never asked for anything in return. She wrote in her notebook, "She has you now, and I only have my silence, but it's okay. I always knew I loved you alone." Years passed. Leila didn't date anyone. She wasn't looking to. She still loved Adam, despite everything. Even after he disappeared completely from her life, her feelings remained. Quiet, burning, buried under 1,000 layers of restraint. One winter day in 2020, she received an invitation to an old high school friend's wedding. She hesitated for days, but finally wore a simple dress, tied her hair as usual, and went. She told herself he probably wouldn't be there. Maybe he'd changed too much. But she saw him. He stood at the entrance, wearing a black suit. His hair was longer, his face more mature. He noticed her almost instantly and walked over. He opened his arms and said, "Leila?" "No way. How have you been?" She smiled gently. "I'm well. And you?" He replied, "You've changed a lot, but your eyes are still the same." They sat together for a while, reminiscing about school, mutual friends, college. It wasn't romantic, but it was warm. incredibly warm. Before leaving, he asked for her number. They started texting. Then came the calls. He spoke about everything: his job, his life, the growing tension with his fiancée. Leila just listened. She never judged, never interrupted, never hinted at jealousy. She was simply there. One night he said to her, "Sometimes when I talk to you I feel peaceful, like you've always been there, and I just didn't see it." She didn't reply. Her heart was racing. She wanted to say, "I have always been here." But the words wouldn't come. Months passed. He broke up with his fiancée. He felt lost, grieving the future he thought he'd have. She remained by his side, quietly supporting him. Another night, he told her, "I'm broken, Leila, but with you I still feel like something beautiful is left." She answered softly, "Not all beauty is loud. Some of it is like you when you're being honest." That night, he realized he saw Leila differently now. She wasn't just a friend or a comforting presence. He thought about her when he walked to work. He smiled, remembering her words. He asked himself, "How did I miss her?" Almost a year later, he asked to meet her. They sat in a small, quiet cafe on the edge of the city. Rain tapped gently against the windows. The place smelled of coffee and old books. After a long silence, he looked at her and asked, "Why didn't you ever tell me you loved me?" She looked at him with teary eyes and said, "I was afraid of losing even the little I had of you. I've loved you in silence for 10 years. I wrote you letters in secret. I imagined conversations that never happened. I lived with you in moments you never knew existed. I was scared of rejection, scared of being laughed at, scared of losing you completely." He stared at her, a mix of sorrow and awe on his face. He said, "If I had known, maybe we could have had something back then." She smiled. "It's okay. Love doesn't need time, it needs a heart. And mine chose you long ago." He reached across the table and held her hand. For the first time, she didn't tremble. He said softly, "I don't want to live in the past, but I want you in my future." In that moment, Leila knew her patience hadn't been in vain. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was a form of love that didn't demand, didn't beg. It simply endured. After 10 years of silence, her heart finally spoke, and someone was finally listening.